ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Om. From this session we will be talking about perceptions of sage Kritsamada and sages belonging to his clan or Gotra. We'll take up first Suktam 1 of Mandalam 2. Rishi Gritsamada Bhargava Shaunaka Devata Agni Jagati. This is the first Suktam from sage Gritsamada, and as per the usual practice in Rigveda, it is dedicated to Agni, the soul of personified energy. Agni gives energy necessary to sustain all living organisms, including human beings. Tvam Agne Dyubhi. O soul of Agni, you are the brilliant protector of human beings. You come into being from the space, from the atmosphere, moving quickly over the clouds, from the forests, and from plants and herbs. You are the purifier of all. Different sources of energy are mentioned in this rig. Energy is there in the sun, in the space, in the atmosphere as lightning, and on the earth as fire in the forests, in the houses as cooking fire, sacrificial fire, etc. Fire purifies all. 2.1.2 Tava Agni Hotram Tava Pohotram. O spiritual Agni, the sacrifices and oblations are yours. Purifying actions are yours. The chief priest keeping proper time is yours. Yours is the person well versed in Vedas who is desirous of performing sacrifices. You are the performer of non-violent sacrifice. You are spiritual knowledge. In our homes, you are also the Lord of the houses. All activities in the universe are energy driven. All pervasive character of Agni is brought out in this rig. The same idea is being elaborated further in all other rigs in this sukta. 2.1.3 Tvamagna Indro Vrishabha. You enlighten people like Indra or the sun, praised and honored by many. You are like the all-pervading Vishnu. O preacher of Vedic knowledge, you are the possessor of all riches. You are symbol of the self, Brahman. You are full of various virtues. Men with intelligence worship you. Energy in the sun is Agni. Similarly, Agni is present in all forms, gross and subtle or imaginary, if they are associated with any other activity. Or Agni, personified soul of energy, alone is responsible for all activities in this universe without any exception. In this respect, Agni is the representative of the self and coexists with the self in all living forms. 2.1.4 Tvamagne Raja Varuno. O resplendent Agni, you are the maintainer of law and order. You are the upholder of the space and earth. You are the destroyer of foes and worship worthy. You are the friend of all pervading, and Lord of righteousness. You are dispenser of justice. You are a part of the sun or quantum of spiritual energy, and you participate in all sacrifices. Agni energy maintains all activities in this universe. Energy is involved in the movement of inert objects in the space. Self-luminous objects radiate energy. Being present in the bodies of living creatures, Agni energy is a friend of all. Rest of the rig is applicable to the soul of Agni, the symbol of the self. 2.1.5 Tvamagne doshta vidhate. O Agni, you are the creator and you make persons who serve people strong. Your excellent speech is friendly and with affection in all sections. You promote quick and efficient men and impart power, generating knowledge. You provide dwellings and strengthen human beings. The soul of Agni, or symbol of moving, witnessing self, is the cause of manifestation of matter and material forms. Agni energy makes people strong. Most of the work refer to the soul of Agni, who makes no distinctions in terms of color or creed, etc. He drives people to act physically and mentally for acquiring all kinds of riches and knowledge. 2.1.6 O Agni, Tvam Agni Rudro Asuro. O Agni, you are the protector of the terrible supreme spirit of the vast space. You are the strength of the Maruts and master of all food and knowledge. You move about with pink flames along with wind, imparting happiness to all. Like the Nourisher Purusha, you protect the worshippers by your own strength. Supreme Spirit implies Supreme Self or Kalagni, as the space is said to be the first manifested form of matter. Movement of air is caused by differential heating of the earth or by Agni. Food is a form of energy, namely chemical energy, and knowledge can be considered as a subtle form of food for the mind. Flames of fire move with wind. Fire brings comfort to human beings in many ways. Agni lightning moves with the water-bearing clouds in the atmosphere along with the wind, causing rain, thus bringing happiness to all human beings. Tvam Agni Dravinoda 2.1.7 O Lord of human beings, Agni, you are the giver of wealth to industrious men. As the soul of the sun, you are the giver of the best jewel. You are the master of all wealth and dwellings. You are the protector of persons who worship you in their homes. Agni is the giver of energy to all persons, industrious or lazy, for their activities. The former type may need more energy, of course. The soul of the sun and that of Agni is the same. Best jewel is knowledge, self, truth, ignorance of which is the cause of manifestation of material wealth. Energy protects a person who regularly gives food to Jataragni, a form of Agni within the stomach. Agni spiritual reveals knowledge of the self to a person who meditates on the soul of energy as Agni. 2.1.8 Tvam Agni Dama O Agni, being the protector of human beings, you are worshipped by all in their houses. Being a liberal donor, you are adored and accepted as the Lord of wealth. With the help of a brilliant army of flames, you protect all and become the possessor of tens, hundreds, and thousands of good articles and wealth. First part of the Rik is explained in the previous Rik. Brilliant army could mean Marus, since energy and pranas go together to sustain life in living creatures. Energy is necessary for procuring all types of riches by human beings. We go to 2.1.9 Tvam Agni Vidaram. O Agni, a person who invokes you by sacrificial oblations and by noble deeds. You who has a shining body for the spirit of brotherhood. To that person, you become like a son, a friend, and a showerer of happiness. You protect him from all sides. Men perform gross form of sacrifices with oblations made to a sacrificial fire. Others may worship Agni in a knowledge sacrifice by auspicious times, or some may meditate on Agni as the soul of energy. In all these cases, Agni will take care of the sacrificers properly. That is the meaning. 2.1.10 Tomagna Rubhura ke. O Agni, you are clever and worthy of adoration. You are the master of enormous stock of food grains and other articles. You burn all substances and illuminate objects, eradicating darkness of ignorance. You are a good teacher of sacrifices and distributor of fruits of actions. As energy within their bodies, human beings adore energy, Agni. Men make use of different forms of Agni for various purposes. Agni burns combustible materials by giving light and heat. He encourages men to perform sacrifice and also enjoy the fruits of their actions. 2.1.11 Tvamagne Aditir Deva. O shining Agni, you give creative power to your devotees. You are the sacrifice which increases with eloquent words of praise. You grow and become like the many hundreds of years old earth. O possessor of wealth, as the destroyer of darkness, you are like the goddess of learning Saraswati. Jataratni gives the necessary power to a person who takes sufficient food to satisfy that Agni. Sacrificial fire grows with oblations, which may be grass food or auspicious hymns. Agni the fire is as old as earth as it resides within the earth. He is the cause of much wealth and is remover of physical darkness. The soul of energy, light of consciousness, is the destroyer of ignorance, like the goddess of learning Saraswati. Next ruk we go to is 2.1.12 Tvamagne Subhrita Uttamam. O well acquired Agni, you are of excellent vigorous age. Your desirable multicolored splendor is worthy of being seen. You are knowledge or mental food and the great destroyer of sins and sorrows. You have many forms and many treasures. You are all pervading and known everywhere. Different attributes of Agni are listed here. They are: he is young and vigorous, has multicolored flames, possessor and distributor of food of all kinds, possessor of spiritual knowledge, great purifier physically and spiritually, appear in various forms, pervade all forms, activating them, and visible in one form or another in the universe. 2.1.13 Tvamagna Adityasa. O Agni, you are the knower of Vedas. The 12 sons, Adityas, made you as their face, and virtuous men made you their tongue. Generous sacrificers invoke you in sacrifices. Enlightened souls accept the oblations offered through you in sacrifices. Agni is the embodiment of truth, as expressed in the Vedas, Ekam Sat. His gross form is appearing as the sun during the 12 months of the year. Tongue stands for taste and speech. Knowledgeable sacrificers make Agni as an object of adoration by hymns. Hymns invoking Agni are acceptable to enlightened souls. 2.1.14 Tve Agne Vishve Amritaso. O Agni, you keep all eternal enlightened souls free from malice and harm. They accept oblations offered through you in sacrifices. Mortal men enjoy a sense of food through you. Purifier that you are, being present in them, you purify the shrubs and plants. Eternal enlightened souls are self-identified men free from ego. Their bodies are maintained by Agni or energy. Such men are non-different from the self or the soul of Agni, who is really acceptor of sacrificial oblations. Ordinary men make use of Agni for making their food tasty. Agni as energy is present in plants, aiding them in the production of food for all. 2.1.15 Tvam Tan Sam Chaprati. O Agni, you are of excellent birth and resplendent. With your own power, you move along with the space and the earth, but also separated from them. For that reason, endowed with good learning, you by your greatness and reputation here become known not only in the atmosphere of the space and earth but also throughout the universe. Agni energy is a manifestation of matter caused by the manifested self and is resplendent. Various celestial objects radiate visible light rays and heat. Agni, the soul of energy, is present in different manifested forms, but not attached to these inner forms. Agni in one form or the other pervades the whole universe. We go to the last ruk in this sukta, 2.1.16. Ye stodrubhyo gogra. O Agni, the scholars who know how to control their senses, spread this knowledge as quickly as a fast-moving horse. You provide good accommodation and lead men to knowledge. Venerable, eminent persons praise you by excellent hymns in this knowledge sacrifice. This knowledge refers to the knowledge contained in the sukta about Agni as the soul of energy or embodiment of the self. Scholars who have realized this truth spread this or preach it to others. They realize the truth by means of sense organs, but not by means of sense organs, but by controlling them. Agni provides dwellings to all within their bodies and outside, in the houses as kitchen fire, etc. This hymn is an offering to Agni from the wise Maharshis. Is the closing piece repeated in many of the suktas from sage Samada. This can be considered, Suktam 1 it can be considered as a good Agnistuti or Agnistotram. Now we go to Suktam 2 from same Rishi, Devata Agni, Chandas Jagati, same, everything same. 2.2.1 Yetnena Varthata Jataveda Samagnim. O sacrificers, you gladden Agni, knower of all born things by sacrificial offerings. You invoke him who is shining well, is handsome and impressive. He leads men to happiness. He is brilliant. He is acceptor of sacrificial offerings and a guide in the right path. This is again by way of introduction to the sukta. The seer of the sukta is asking his listeners to concentrate their minds on Agni, as he is going to talk about him in this sukta. Most of the ruks describe the virtues of Agni, the soul of energy. as there is no soul different from the self, manifested self. Abhitva naktirushaso. 2.2.2. O spiritual Agni, like the cows in their sheds desire their calves, the sacrificers desire you at nights and in mornings. O acceptable to many, you are the vast Agni. You are as vast as space. You shine most brilliantly during the lifetime of human beings, 24 hours of the day. Two forms of Agni are talked about in this book. One is the sacrificial fire kindled in mornings and evenings daily. The other is Vaishwanara, who resides within the bodies of all living creatures from their birth to death. The rest of the book is a list of different attributes of Agni who pervades the vast space. Third ruk in the Sukta, Tam Deva Buddhe, enlightened persons brought near Agni, who is beautiful to look at, is the pervader of the space and the earth, is knowable as the body of the self. He shines with pure brilliance, is praised in the whole world, is like a friend and is present in the atmosphere. Different forms of energy are talked about in this book also. There are infinite stars radiating energy in this space. In the atmosphere, energy is present as lightning in the air and in the water-bearing clouds. On the earth, energy is found to appear in different forms. Some more characteristics of Agni are also listed here. Tamukshanam Rajasi 2.2.4. Sacrificers preserve that Agni who sprinkles water in the atmosphere. He is shining like gold. He is falling from the speckled cloud, reminding one of the flames of the fire. He is a protector like water, who moves in various ways in his own home, which is in both the space and the earth. Again, in the Agni, in the clouds, lightning is same as the fire that men keep in their houses. This is implied by the first part. The rest of the book is a beautiful description of lightning which appears in the atmosphere surrounding the earth. 2.2.5 Sahoda Vishwambari. That Agni is the acceptor and integrator of all non-violent sacrifices everywhere. All men propitiate him only with gross offerings and by auspicious times. He, the disintegrator, Agni, burns among grown-up plants and also human bodies. He brightens the earth and the space as the stars illuminate the space. This is a description of fire on the earth. Agni is present in all forms of sacrifices. He is present in the bodies of sacrificers as Jataragni. Agni is the acceptor of sacrificial oblations, whatever may be the type of sacrifice. This explains the first part of the book. Agni as destroyer is described in the second half. Fire burns combustible materials emitting light just like a star in the sky. 2.2.6 Sano Revat Samidhana. O brilliant Agni, kindled by us properly, please shine well for our prosperity. May you give us wealth which is ever increasing. Please make the space and earth a fit place for offering and partaking. Sacrificial offerings by human beings for their happiness and prosperity. This book is self-explanatory. Indispensability of energy for happiness and prosperity of mankind is brought out here. The same point is elaborated in the book that follows, 2.2.7. Dano Agne Brihato. O Agni, please give us excellent wealth and thousands of riches. Please unlock the door to the most glorious wealth. Please make the space and earth favorable to us by your actions. We make the resplendent you shine well like the sun on all days. Energy is needed for obtaining any type of wealth. The soul of Agni is the gateway to knowledge of the self, which is the most glorious wealth. Different forms of energy present in the space and earth make earth a livable place for mankind. Men make use of energy for a variety of purposes in their day-to-day life. Sa idhana ushaso 2.2.8. That Agni, kindled daily, shines with the dawns and with reddish light like the sun in the space. That Agni, honored adoringly by the oblations of human beings, becomes the respected guest in every home and Lord of all living creatures for their movements during their lifetime. First part of the book is a description of fire in the kitchen or sacrificial fire, which people make use of in the mornings and evenings. Second part can be Jఠragni, or fire used for powering vehicles. Evano Agni Amrteshu Purvya. O Agni, among the immortal, resplendent beings in the vast space, you are the most ancient. You enhance our intelligence. Mortals that we are, your speech becomes grantor of desirable streams of innumerable, diverse objects to the performer of sacrifices. Energy is the one form of basic matter, and so is as ancient as the universe itself. Energy is necessary for activating human beings' minds. The first part refers to the soul of Agni, the manifested self, that drives the sacrificers to perform sacrifices for obtaining different types of wealth, including knowledge. Vayam Agni Arvata 2.2.10. O Agni, we shall seriously remember those people who become great heroes through their horses or spiritual light rays or through their actions. Please purify us by giving us that incomparable wealth which is resplendent like the sun and is the best available among the 5 kinds of human beings. Agni, or energy within them, made some people famous by their noble deeds. This point is recalled here. The minds of sacrificers are covered with dirt of ignorance. Agni is being requested to drive away this ignorance by light of consciousness of the self. The 5 kinds of human beings are those who identify their Atma with the body, pranas, sense organs, the mind and intellect. Deham pranam abindriyanyapichalam buddhim 2.2.11. Sano bodhi sahasya, whom learned scholars of noble birth longed for, may that powerful, well-praised Agni awaken us. From our sleep of ignorance. O Agni, sacrificers daily approach you, who are shining You are the shining soul of sacrifice in the homes of the learned scholars who are desirous of having good offsprings. Learned scholars approach Agni, the soul of energy, with oblations of Vedic hymns for enlightenment of knowledge, the self, and also for good progeny. This is the essence of the Rig. 2.2.12 Ubhayaso Jata Veda. O knower of all born beings, Agni, both your devotees and learned scholars come under your protection. May you provide us dwellings with progeny and animals and other riches by way of endearing profuse gold and other wealth, etc., for gifting them to the needy. Agni energy within their bodies and other forms of energy external to the bodies of human beings together protect them. Agni provides necessary energy for all their activities towards achieving the riches that they desire. The fact that these riches are not meant for enjoyment but is meant for giving it to the needy is also contained in this Ruk. Last Ruk is 2.2.13, which is the same as 2.1.16. We will take up one more Suktam. Basically, this is also an Agni Suktam, but it is the conventional Apriya Sukta type from Sage Gritsamada in Trushtup and Jagadi Chandasas. Samitho Agnet Nihita. 2.3.1. The resplendent Agni is hidden inside the earth. Agni keeps all the stars glowing in the universe. Spiritual Agni, who is blessed with intelligence, is self-resplendent, is the sacrificer, is purifier, and is eternal. He is fit for honoring other enlightened beings. Fire is there inside the earth. Agni is there in the space as the self-luminous stars. Agni as light illumines physical objects, and the soul of energy is associated with spiritual knowledge and intelligence. Rest of the Rug has been explained before. 2.3 to 3.2 Marashamsa. Praised by leaders of man, soul of Agni, by the greatness of his own spiritual rays, manifests himself in three places: the space, atmosphere, and earth. By his mind full of brilliance, may Agni manifest before other enlightened beings, issuing out oblations in the beginning of the sacrifice. Agni is manifesting as the sun in the space, as lightning in the atmosphere, and as fire on the earth. Sacrificial fire, physical or spiritual, shines brilliantly with oblations. May Agni, the soul of energy, the manifested self, reveal the knowledge of the self to a learned, intelligent sacrificer. This is implied here. We go to Suktam number 2.3.3. Ilido Agni Manasa, O spiritual Agni, you are being praised by us today wholeheartedly, since the first man approached you. Please honor other enlightened beings. May you bring here the strength of the Marus. O leaders of man, please invoke that imperishable Agni, who pervades all substances in the universe. Agni is being worshipped by learned men from the time fire was discovered by man for the first time. Fire and air coexist within the bodies of all living beings on the earth. Sacrificers are being asked to meditate on that all-pervading Agni Atma. Deva Barhir. 2.3.4. O resplendent Agni, for the sake of wealth, this place of sacrifice is being prepared for you. You are enhancer of water, are heroic and can be easily handled. In this place, sprinkled with ghee, may all worship-worthy, beneficent, shining and eternal shining beings be seated. For acquiring wealth and knowledge, seer of the Sukta is invoking Agni in this knowledge sacrifice, to which other enlightened souls, shining beings, etc., are also being invited. Some of the shining beings are identified in the that follow. 2.3.5. Vishrayantam, resplendent guardians of the path, are shining like the earth, having fine monuments. They should be upheld and treated distinctly with respect. May they, who are expansive, are free from disease, and are bestowers of heroic sons, fame and glory, extend their renown. The path implies righteous path, and its guardians are enlightened beings or knowers of truth. On that count, they are worthy to be honored. Their knowledge is expansive and is free from disease or of ignorance. They help others to gain all types of wealth, and in that way they enhanced their own fame. 2.3.6. Sadhvapamsi, dawn and night, moistened by our noble deeds and politeness, arrive daily like expert weavers. They weave the vast fabric of sacrifice by creating the threads in combination one by one daily. They bring abundant wealth and overflowing water like milch cows. The fabric or cloth of sacrifice is woven by threads which are as though produced daily, by day and night, appearing one after another in succession. This is equivalent to saying that sacrifice is being performed continuously. Hence, sacrifices or day and night are said to be harbingers of wealth and water or rain in the appropriate seasons. They mark time for the Creator. 2.3.7. Devya Hodara Basama, the wise acceptors of sacrifice, who are the foremost scholars and exceptionally handsome, explain matters through unambiguous words. They beautify the enlightened souls who are like the soul of the earth, in all seasons and without any distinctions as low, middle and high status. The wise acceptors of sacrifices would be Agni, or entities shining like fire with knowledge. Attributes mentioned in this rig are equally applicable to both. The scholarly sacrificers pay tribute to self-realized souls without making any distinction to their status by way of age, caste or creed. Next is 2.3.8. Saraswati. Sadhayanti. Saraswati, possessor of knowledge, helps us to obtain good intelligence and wisdom. She moves quickly over the whole world. She is adorable, is shining, and is upholder of physical knowledge. Thus, she is the possessor of three virtues. To give us a protective cover, may she, by her own power, protect this sacrifice. Saraswati is personified learning or knowledge, physical or objective, and spiritual or objectless. She is possessed of three virtues, is adorable, is self-luminous, and is the upholder of physical knowledge. With her knowledge cover, may she protect our sacrifice. This is the implied meaning of the Ruk. Now 2.3.9. Vishangarupa, may the creator of all born creatures, who is of golden color, is a good sustainer of life, is bestower of strength, is quick, is brave, and is desired by enlightened souls, bless us with good lineage so that we may attain the praise of the enlightened souls. Golden color means shining like gold. Creator and sustainer of all living organisms is definitely spiritual light of Atma. May the self within guide us to obtain all kinds of wealth and finally to self-realization. This is hope of the seer. 2.3.10 Vanaspatir, the Lord of forests or race, appears to have abandoned his terrible nature. Agni accepts oblations, knowing well the threefold oblations, made ready or prepared for the enlightened beings. May Agni lead us to those enlightened souls. Fire can be considered as the lord of the forest or race. Race, physical light race. Forest fire is all-consuming and terrible. The sacrificial fire is mild and accepts sacrificial offerings. He is also showerer of fruits of actions. Threefold oblations are gross, subtle, and spiritual. Differentiating them in this way, may Agni, the soul of energy, lead the sacrificers to the abode of the enlightened souls, the self. Last stroke in the Sukta and last for the day, 2.3.11. Kritam Mimikshe. Water or ghee is his origin. He is attached to water. Water is his home. We shall pour ghee to Agni. O shower of happiness, may you grow by ghee oblations and which are offered to you. According to your will, please bear them and be delighted. Agni energy is present as latent heat of vaporization of water in the atmosphere and also as sensible heat. Both are attached to water. This covers the first part. The cloud, which is the home of water vapor, is also the home of lightning, another form of energy. This could be another explanation. The grass sacrificial fire grows with ghee oblations, or Agni is delighted by ghee oblations. This sukta is known as Apriya Sukta. With this, we finish today's session. Viramastavat.